Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara and let's start off by taking a look at your headlines.
Long queues to purchase fuel. Another ship carrying fuel arrives. 3 more ships are expected to arrive. President intervenes to solve power crisis. 7-hour power cuts today. Health professionals launch token strike today. Biden says US will defend every inch of NATO territory.
In your top story this afternoon, people are severely inconvenienced as a result of the prevailing shortage of diesel, and long queues are seen at filling stations across the island. Newsfirst correspondents reported that despite certain filling stations being closed as they had run out of fuel, people were still seen waiting in their vehicles near filling stations throughout last night and this morning as well.
The shortage of fuel has affected multiple sectors including transportation, agriculture, tourism, fisheries as well as the industries. Even though vehicles queued up to purchase diesel from filling stations over the past several days, the queues have now extended to more than a kilometre. People queued up at fuel stations in Kurunegala to purchase diesel since last night. This was the situation in Kandy earlier this morning.
මේ දවස් ටිකේ ගෙදර නිදියන්න නැහැ ෂෙඩ් වල නිදියන්නේ කෑන් වලට තෙල් දෙන්නේ නැහැ අනික තමයි මැෂින් වලට තෙල් ගහන්න පාරේ අපිට එන්න බෑ මැෂින් අරගෙන.
This was the situation at a filling station in Ambatale last night.
පුල්ල හතල් මේ පෝලිං වල හැමදාම කොහොමද කරන්නේ තෙල් නැහැ අවුලක් නැහැ ඕවයා දැන් සැප දාන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ අපෙන්ම තමයි අහගන්න තියෙන්නේ. Yeah, this is such a freaking government. They deserve to be punished.
A long queue was observed in Kadruwela to purchase fuel. A long queue was observed in Anuradhapura last night to purchase diesel.
Newsfirst continues to report on the prevailing situation in the country. Now we cross over to Newsfirst Nisal Suryarachi, who toured around Colombo this morning to find out the situation in Colombo.
We are at a fuel station in Union Place, and you might wonder, these people in the fuel station, how are they going to carry out their daily activities? What are they going to do with the rest of their day? With their spending the entire day in a queue in the fuel station. Let's ask one of the people and see how they feel. I know the fuel station again. දැන් පැයකට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණ ගානේ දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ දවස් වෙන වැඩක් කරගන්න බෑනේ දවස් වැඩක් කියන්නේ මොකුත්ම කරගන්න බැරි වෙන්නේ. This is Nisal Suryarachi reporting for Newsfirst. There is a massive queue to pump petrol and diesel to their vehicles at the moment. As you can see, there are long queues and there are also people with bottles and cans to pump fuel as well. There is also a petrol bowser unloading at the moment. This is the condition at Flower Road. I am Nisal Suryarachi reporting for News First.
The Ministry of Energy says 2 more fuel tankers carrying diesel are scheduled to arrive in the country today and tomorrow. Secretary of the Energy Ministry KDR Olga said 1 tanker contains 33,000 metric tons of auto diesel and 7,000 metric tons of super diesel, while the other tanker contains 28,000 metric tons of diesel and 9,000 metric tons of jet fuel. According to KDR Olga, steps are currently underway to open letters of credit to release the shipments. The Energy Minister has reiterated that Sri Lanka is currently in possession of adequate petrol reserves. Secretary to the Energy Ministry KDR Olga further noted that 2 more ships carrying fuel are scheduled to arrive on the 6th and 7th of this month. The Energy Ministry said that none of the fuel shipments that arrived in Sri Lanka were rejected, adding that samples obtained from fuel tankers imported to the country have so far passed the proper testing procedures.
Drifting your attention from the fuel crisis to the power crisis, the Public Utilities Commission granted the approval to disrupt the supply of electricity for 7.5 hours today.
PUCSL Chairman Janaka Ratnayaka said 5-hour power cuts will be experienced across the island from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m, while 2.5 power cuts will be experienced across the country between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. The Ceylon Electricity Board says it has been 1 month since the Kalanithissa power plant had shut down. CEB spokesperson, Deputy General Manager Andrew Navamani said the Sapugaskanda power station that was inactive has resumed operations again. The CEB also pointed out that water levels of reservoirs surrounding hydropower plants has dropped to 40%, meaning only 19% of the electricity is generated through hydropower. The Ministry of Energy noted that 30,000 tons of furnace oil required to produce electricity is expected to arrive in the country on the 8th of this month. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has assured the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka that all necessary actions will be taken immediately to avert the prevailing electricity crisis in the country. Chairman of the PUCSL, Janaka Ratnayaka, told Newsfirst that the Treasury and Central Bank will make sure to facilitate the import of fuel for the generation of electricity with immediate effect as per a directive of the President.
Due to the shortage of fuel, the paddy harvest, which is cultivated without fertilizer, has become unsustainable.
The farmers in Polonnaruwa say even they are affected due to the fuel shortage. These are the harvesting machines in paddy fields in Polonnaruwa.
මේ අතර දෙහිහත්ත කණ්ඩිය අවට ඉන්ධන පෙරවුම්හල් සියල්ලේම ඩීසල් නැමැතිකමින් ගොවින් අපහසුතාව
කට්ටිය කියනවා තෙල් අරන් තියා ගන්න නැත්නම් ගෝයන් කපලා දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. රාට අලි රකින්න ඕන හුඹරෝල ගිහිල්ලා. ඉතින් දැන් ගෝයන් පැහිලා
As the general public continues to be inconvenienced by the fuel shortage and the power shortage, the issuance of medicines, laboratory services, radiology services, as well as the treatment of patients at government hospitals across the country are hampered as a result of the trade union action of health professionals. Patients have been severely inconvenienced as a result of this strike.
The health professionals attached to 17 trade unions are engaged in a token strike today and tomorrow, as the authorities have failed to provide them with concrete solutions to issues such as their salary anomalies. Convener of the Federation of Health Professionals, Ravi Kumude, said the strike action will be carried out across the island. However, he noted that children's hospitals, cancer hospitals, maternity hospitals, the Central Blood Bank and the Colombo National Institute of Infectious Diseases will not join the strike action. The Government Nursing Officers Association is also not taking part in the strike action, as enjoining orders have been issued against it. The public health inspectors and midwives have refrained from their duties as they have joined the strike action.
උදේ පාන්දර ඉඳලා මේ අහිංසක ලෙඩ්ඩු ඇවිල්ලා පේනවා නේද? ඉතින් මේගොල්ලන්ට බේත් ලේටි ගන්නනියකුත් නැහැ, රිපෝට් දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. මිනිස්සු අසරණයිනේ පව් නේද? ලේජෙක් කරන් තමයි ආවේ මේ ස්ටේට්ලුන්නේ. බලන්න එහෙන අපරාධයක් නේද? කොච්චර මිනිස්සු හතියද මම පාන දුරේ ඉඳලා.
Members of the Association of Medical Professionals met with former President Maithripala Sirisena to discuss matters pertaining to their issues.
The meeting took place at the official residence of former President Maithripala Sirisena yesterday. The members attached to the Association of Medical Professionals briefed the former president on unresolved issues faced by them.
Drifting your attention to the situation in Ukraine as of today.
US President Joe Biden vowed and said the US would not send forces into Ukraine to confront the Russian military. The US would join with NATO allies to defend the alliance. Biden said, quote, "Let me be clear, our forces are not engaged and will not engage in conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine. Our forces are not going to Europe to fight in Ukraine, but to defend our NATO allies in the event that Putin decides to keep moving west every single inch," end quote.
Russia's Vladimir Putin sought to shake the very foundations of the free world, thinking he could make it bend to his menacing ways. But he badly miscalculated. He thought he could roll into Ukraine and the world would roll over Instead, he met with a wall of strength he never anticipated or imagined. He met the Ukrainian people.
US Joe Biden closed American airspace to Russian aircraft and had said that Russia's Vladimir Putin will pay quote-unquote high price over the long run. The Ukrainian army says Russian airborne troops have landed in eastern city of Kharkiv, adding that there were immediate clashes. The army said, quote, Russian airborne troops landed in Kharkiv and attacked a local hospital. There is an ongoing fight between the invaders and the Ukrainians. The UN Human Rights Office says at least 136 civilians, including 13 children, have been killed since Russia invaded Ukraine last week. The OCHR spokesperson said that 400 others were wounded. Ukraine's Ministry of Internal Affairs says 80,000 Ukrainians have returned home from abroad to join in the fight against Russia. The World Bank says it is preparing a $3 billion aid package for Ukraine, which will include at least $350 million in immediate funds. The United Nations General Assembly is set to reprimand Russia over its invasion of Ukraine and demand that Moscow stop fighting and withdraw its military forces, a move that aims diplomatically to isolate Russia at the world body. Meanwhile, the world's three biggest shipping lines have suspended non-essential deliveries to Russia, joining a growing list of companies shunning Moscow amid Western sanctions over its invasion of Ukraine. Boeing Co. says it is suspending parts, maintenance and technical support for Russian airlines, as well as major operations in Moscow. The West has imposed heavy restrictions on Russia to close off its economy, while the global financial system is pushing companies to halt sales, cut ties and dump tens of billions of dollars worth of investments.
The consequences of the war between Russia and Ukraine is felt by many nations. It has not limited itself to Russia, Ukraine or even Europe. Even people in Sri Lanka are very much affected by the invasion that Russia has launched against Ukraine. We have a group of Ukrainian nationals who are stranded in Sri Lanka protesting outside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, asking the relevant authorities to give them enough information to ascertain what is going on in their country. They are unable to go back to their parents or their loved ones, and they are pleading from the Russian government to stop the war. What exactly is your message today?
We do have two main messages for Sri Lanka people today. First of all, we ask you on behalf of all Ukrainians to listen and to read the international resources, the official resources which provide the true information about the war in Ukraine. Do not listen to Russian propaganda. Second, please support, with any means you have, support Ukraine and Ukrainian people in the international level with your government sources you have. Support it with sanctions, support us with any international legal help you can do.
Every single step, every single action means a lot, really a lot. People are dying. Children are suffering in the basement. Children that have such serious diseases as cancer or something, they sit in cold basement without food, without medicine. A lot of millions of people are sitting down their basement and just trying to survive.
How do you feel? How does the situation in your country makes you feel?
Now we feel the most strongest united in all Ukrainian people all around the world. We feel their support. We want to help in any kind of help we can do.
Well, this is the situation of the Ukrainian nationals stranded in Sri Lanka. In Kharkiv, Ukraine, Russian troops have parachuted themselves to launch another attack. There were bombings and shellings reported since last night.
And that's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. Thank you for joining. For all these stories and much more, you can always log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara signing off. Have yourself a great day ahead.